All right, strap in, everybody. Today, we are going deep on The Art of War
Sun Tzu.
by
Yeah.
Sun Tzu. We're looking at a 1910 translation
Oh, wow.
of this classic Chinese military text.
Okay.
And let me tell you, it's about a lot more than just, fighting on a battlefield.
It really is. It's one of those works that kind of transcends its original context.
Right.
The things that Sun Tzu lays out, the principles, you can apply them to so many areas of life.
Absolutely. So today, we are going to unpack some of those key principles and see how this ancient wisdom can still be relevant to, modern challenges.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you'll walk away with some surprising insights that might just change how you approach, I don't know, any strategic situation.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's a great way to frame it.
Yeah.
And what better place to start than with Sun Tzu's, core belief?
Yeah.
Right off the bat, he tells us, the art of war is of vital importance, a matter of life and death. He's not messing around.
No, he's not.
Yeah.
It seems like he's trying to shake us out of any complacency we might have, about strategy in general.
Well, I think it speaks to, the gravity
Yeah.
with which Sun Tzu approached the subject.
Yeah.
He saw warfare as something that had to be studied and understood deeply because the stakes were just so incredibly high.
Yeah.
And for him, it wasn't just about winning battles, it was about the survival of nations.
Entire nations. Yeah. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
So he set the tone, super serious warning.
Yeah.
Okay. And then he goes into these 5 constant factors in warfare,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Moral law, heaven, earth,
Commander.
the commander, and method and discipline.
Right.
What is going on here? These seem very basic on the surface.
Yeah, you're right, they do. But that's the genius of Sun Tzu.
Okay.
He takes these seemingly simple concepts and reveals their profound implications
Right.
for success in warfare. And, I think these implications go way beyond the battlefield. Think about moral law, for example. Okay. He explains this as ensuring the people are in complete accord with their ruler. So it's this idea of unity.
So it's more than just being good, quote unquote.
Yeah.
It's more about having everyone on the same page.
Precisely. Sun Tzu knew that a divided nation, one where the people don't trust their leader, is inherently weak.
Right.
And I think this applies to any organization, really.
Yeah.
If you're leading a team, you need to inspire that sense of shared purpose, this belief in your vision. Without it, you're setting yourself up for failure.
That's such a critical insight, and it's something we often overlook
Yeah.
in our rush to achieve our goals. We might be focused on the tactics,
Yeah.
but we forget about the importance of building that foundational unity and trust.
Absolutely. And this is just one example
Yeah.
of how Sun Tzu takes a seemingly simple concept and extracts these layers of deeper meaning.
It's almost deceptively simple.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so we have this idea of moral law being crucial for unity and strength. What about the other factors? What's heaven all about in this context?
Yeah, so heaven doesn't refer to a spiritual realm in this case.
Okay.
It's more about understanding the natural elements. So weather, the seasons, the time of day.
Yeah.
Sun Tzu recognized that these factors could have a huge impact on the outcome of a battle.
So you've got to know when to strike, literally.
Yes. And to illustrate this point, he gives a specific example about the importance of understanding the terrain.
Okay.
He says, a victorious army chooses its ground, whereas a defeated army is forced to fight on whatever ground it finds itself on.
So it's not just about reacting to the circumstances. It's about actively shaping those circumstances to your advantage.
Exactly. And this principle can be applied to so many areas of life.
Yeah.
Whether you're negotiating a business deal or navigating a difficult conversation, choosing the right time and place can make all the difference.
Okay. I can see how this is starting to click for me.
Yeah.
So we've got moral law for unity, heaven for timing, and environmental awareness. What about Earth?
Earth represents the physical terrain distances, dangers, opportunities. It's about understanding the battlefield,
Literally.
both literally and figuratively.
Okay.
Sun Tzu argues that a skilled general knows how to use the terrain to his advantage,
Okay.
to create choke points, to set traps, to control the flow of the battle.
It's interesting how these concepts resonate. Even in our digital age,
Oh, yeah.
we might not be fighting on physical battlefields,
Right.
but we're constantly navigating these digital landscapes, these networks and platforms.
That's such a great point. Think about social media, for example.
Okay.
Understanding the terrain of a particular platform, its algorithms, its culture, its audience, that's essential for anyone who wants to effectively use it to build a brand or spread a message.
Yeah, I'm starting to see how this ancient wisdom can still be like very relevant today.
Yeah.
We're all like generals in a sense, commanding our own armies of ideas and ambitions.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
We all face challenges and we all have to make strategic decisions.
Yeah.
And the art of war can provide a framework for approaching those decisions with like greater clarity and intention.
Okay, so we've got moral law, heaven and earth. That leaves us with the commander and method and discipline.
Yeah.
What does Sun Tzu have to say about leadership in this context?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting. For Sun Tzu, the commander isn't just the person giving orders. They're like the linchpin of the entire operation.
Right.
He lists qualities like wisdom, sincerity, benevolence, courage, and strictness as essential for effective leadership.
So it's like a blend of intellect, integrity, compassion, and decisiveness.
Yeah.
That's a pretty tall order.
It is. And it's a reminder that leadership isn't just about having like a commanding presence or a loud voice.
Right.
It's about cultivating a set of virtues that inspire trust and loyalty in your followers.
And it makes you realize that true leadership isn't restricted to titles or positions of power.
Yeah.
It's about how you show up in the world, how you interact with others, and the values you embody.
Absolutely. And finally, we have method and discipline, which Sun Tzu sees as essential for maintaining order and efficiency in an army.
So it's not just about having a grand strategy. You also need to be able to execute that strategy effectively.
Precisely.
Right.
And this principle can be applied to any project or endeavor, you know?
Yeah.
You can have the best ideas in the world, but if you can't organize your resources, manage your time, communicate effectively, you're unlikely to achieve your goals.
It reminds me of that saying, failing to plan is planning to fail.
Exactly. Sun Tzu was a big believer in planning and preparation.
Yeah.
He understood that success in warfare, and I think in life, rarely happens by accident, you know. It's the result of careful thought, strategic action, and the ability to adapt to changing circumstances.
Speaking of adapting to circumstances, that leads perfectly into one of Sun Tzu's most fascinating ideas, deception.
Oh, yeah.
He famously states that all warfare is based on deception.
Right.
Why is that so crucial to his thinking?
Well, Sun Tzu understood that warfare is as much a mental game as it is a physical one.
Okay.
By deceiving the enemy, you can create opportunities to exploit their weaknesses and gain an advantage.
Like you're trying to outsmart your opponent, anticipate their moves, and set traps that will lead to their downfall.
I love that analogy. It highlights the importance of thinking several steps ahead, you know?
Okay, so he's advocating for using deception to gain an edge. But isn't relying on spies risky? What if they're double agents?
That's a valid concern, and Sun Tzu actually addresses the risks involved in espionage.
Oh, okay.
He emphasizes the need for, like, careful vetting of spies, using multiple sources of information, and just a healthy dose of skepticism.
So it's about managing those risks and not putting all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly. And it's another example of how Sun Tzu's thinking is so nuanced. And layered, you know. He's not just giving us a set of rules to follow blindly. He's encouraging us to think critically and to adapt his principles to the specific circumstances we face.
Wow, this is already so much more than just a military treatise, right?
Yeah.
It's like a deep dive into human psychology and the nature of strategy itself.
It truly is. And we've only just scratched the surface.
So before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's recap what we've uncovered so far.
Okay.
We started with Sun Tzu's core belief. The art of war is a matter of life and death.
Right.
Then we explored the 5 constant factors: moral law, heaven, earth, the commander, and method and discipline. We saw how each of these seemingly simple concepts has these deeper implications for achieving success, not just in warfare, but in many areas of life.
Right. We talked about the importance of unity, timing, understanding the terrain, effective leadership, organization, and discipline.
Right, and we even touched on the fascinating world of espionage.
Right.
And the role of deception in strategic thinking.
Yeah.
What's striking me is how Sun Tzu emphasizes the mental and psychological aspects of warfare. It's not just about brute force. It's about outsmarting your opponent.
Yeah.
Understanding their motivations and like manipulating their perceptions.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that makes the art of war so timeless. You know,
Yeah.
the strategies and principles he lays out are just as relevant in like the boardroom or the political arena as they are on the battlefield.
Well, we've definitely got a lot more to unpack.
Yes, we do.
And I can't wait to see what other insights Sun Tzu has in store for us.
Same here.
Let's dive back in.
Okay.
All right, so we've laid some groundwork with those core principles of the art of war.
Yeah.
But there's so much more to explore.
Yeah.
One thing that keeps coming up for me is this idea of adaptability.
Mm-hmm.
Sun Tzu really stresses that there are no fixed rules in warfare, would you say?
Absolutely. Rigidity can be like a fatal flaw in any strategic situation.
Right.
Sun Tzu himself says, just as water retains no constant shape, so in warfare, there are no constant conditions.
So you can't just memorize a playbook and expect to win every time? Is that what he's saying?
Exactly. He compares a skilled general to water, flowing effortlessly around obstacles, constantly adapting to the terrain.
It's like, I can almost picture that. A river winding its way through a landscape,
Right.
finding the path of least resistance. But how does that translate to, say, a business negotiation?
Yeah.
Or even just like dealing with a conflict in a personal relationship?
Well, imagine you're heading into a big meeting, right? And you're ready to present your proposal.
Okay.
You've got your talking points, your projections, everything neatly organized, right?
Yeah.
But what happens if the other party throws you a curveball? Maybe they have new information or their priorities have shifted.
Okay.
You can't just stick to your script. You need to be able to adapt on the fly.
So it's about being prepared, but also being open to changing course if the situation demands it.
Exactly. And this is where Sun Tzu's concept of knowing yourself and knowing your enemy comes into play.
Right.
If you have a deep understanding of your own strengths and weaknesses, as well as those of your opponent, you're better equipped to make those adjustments.
I think he has a rather chilling warning about what happens if you don't do this.
He does.
Right.
He says, if you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. If you know yourself but not the enemy, for every victory gained, you will also suffer a defeat. If you know neither the enemy nor yourself, you will succumb in every battle.
So the stakes are pretty high here.
Yeah.
He seems to be saying that self-awareness is just as crucial as understanding your opponent.
Absolutely. And this is where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Because knowing yourself isn't just about recognizing your strengths.
Right.
It's also about confronting your weaknesses. Sun Tzu actually advises us to appear weak when we are strong and strong when we are weak.
Hold on. Isn't that a bit, like, contradictory?
It might seem that way, but think about it.
Okay.
If you can convince your opponent that you're weaker than you actually are, you might lull them into a false sense of security.
Okay.
You could make them overconfident, leading them to make mistakes that you can then exploit.
So it's all about playing mind games,
Uh-huh.
like manipulating perceptions.
In a way, yes.
Okay.
But it's also about recognizing that perception is often reality, especially in competitive situations.
Okay, I can see how that could be incredibly effective, but how do you actually go about deceiving your opponent? Are there any specific tactics
Yeah.
that Sun Tzu recommends?
Well, he talks about things like feigning retreats,
Okay.
spreading disinformation, creating diversions.
Right.
It's all about sowing confusion and doubt in the enemy's mind, making them question their own assessments and judgments.
I can see how this could be applied like in business negotiations or even personal conflicts. Sometimes holding back information
Right.
or strategically revealing certain aspects of your position can give you a real advantage.
Exactly. And it all goes back to that core principle of adaptability, being able to adjust your approach based on the specific circumstances
Yeah.
and the psychological dynamics at play.
Right. You know, we talked about earlier Sun Tzu's emphasis on achieving victory without fighting.
Right.
It seems like this whole idea of deception is like a key part of that.
It absolutely is. Remember, Sun Tzu believed that the highest form of generalship was breaking the enemy's resistance without actually having to engage in a costly battle.
Right.
And deception is one of the most powerful tools for achieving that.
But how do you, how do you actually do that?
Yeah.
Does he give any concrete examples?
He does. For example, he talks about the importance of balking the enemy's plans.
Okay.
This means anticipating their moves and disrupting their strategies before they even have a chance to materialize.
So it's like preemptively disrupting their supply lines or creating obstacles that force them to change course.
Exactly. And it can also involve using psychological tactics to undermine their morale.
Okay.
So discord among their ranks make them doubt the wisdom of their leaders.
So it's like a combination of physical maneuvers
Right.
and psychological warfare.
Precisely. Sun Tzu understood that victory is often won before the first blow is even struck.
That's wild. But how do you actually know what your opponent is planning in the first place?
Right.
It's not like they're going to send you a memo outlining their strategy.
That's where intelligence gathering comes in.
Right.
Sun Tzu dedicates an entire chapter of The Art of War to the use of spies.
Right. We talked a little bit about the different types of spies.
Right.
He describes the local spies, the inward spies, the converted spies, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
But beyond just gathering information, like, how does he suggest using that intelligence to gain a strategic advantage?
He emphasizes the importance of analyzing the information your spies bring back, looking for patterns, identifying weaknesses, and anticipating the enemy's next move.
Okay.
He also stresses the importance of using disinformation to mislead your opponent,
Okay.
feeding them false information that will lead them astray.
It's like you're playing like a multi-dimensional chess game.
Yeah.
You're not just moving pieces on a board, but you're also trying to manipulate the very rules of the game itself.
Exactly. And this requires a level of strategic thinking that goes far beyond simply reacting to your opponent's moves.
Yeah.
It's about shaping the battlefield, controlling the narrative, and ultimately dictating the terms of the engagement.
I mean, that seems incredibly relevant to like today's world.
Oh, yeah.
Where we're constantly bombarded with information from all sides.
Right.
Being able to filter through that information to discern truth from falsehood,
Yeah.
to identify bias and manipulation, these are essential skills for navigating the complexities of modern life.
I couldn't agree more. Sun Tzu's teachings, while rooted in ancient warfare, offer a framework for critical thinking and strategic decision-making that is just as relevant today as it was centuries ago.
Okay, so we've talked about the importance of adaptability,
Yeah.
deception, intelligence gathering, achieving victory without fighting.
Right.
What else does Sun Tzu highlight in his quest for, like, strategic dominance?
Well, he dedicates a significant portion of the art of war to the importance of terrain.
Okay.
He categorizes different types of ground and outlines strategic considerations for each.
We touched on a couple of these earlier, like desperate ground where your back is against the wall,
Yeah.
and contentious ground, which is highly sought after by both sides.
Nah.
What other types of terrain does he discuss, and how does he suggest approaching them strategically?
Well, he talks about accessible ground, which is open and easy to traverse.
Okay.
His advice here is to be the first to occupy the high ground and to protect your supply lines.
So it's all about seizing the tactical advantage, right?
Exactly. And then there's entangling ground, which is easy to get into, but difficult to get out of.
Oh, that sounds like a trap.
Yeah.
What's the best way to approach that kind of situation?
Sun Tzu advises caution when operating in this type of terrain.
Okay.
He suggests using it for surprise attacks, but warns against getting bogged down in a prolonged engagement.
Okay.
He also emphasizes the importance of having a clear exit strategy.
Right, so you don't get trapped and vulnerable.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's about choosing your battles wisely, knowing when to strike and when to withdraw.
Right.
What about temporizing ground?
Okay.
Is that a good place to, like, regroup and plan your next move?
Not necessarily. Temporizing ground is essentially a stalemate situation where neither side has a clear advantage.
Okay.
Sun Tzu's advice here is to be patient,
Okay.
to wait for the enemy to make a mistake, and to exploit any opportunities that arise.
Gotcha.
It's a test of patience and discipline, knowing when to act and when to hold back.
So it's not about rushing into action, but carefully assessing the situation and waiting for the right moment to strike.
Exactly. And this is where a deep understanding of your opponent's psychology comes into play.
Yeah.
You need to be able to read their intentions, anticipate their moves, and exploit their weaknesses.
Okay, so we've covered what accessible ground, entangling ground, temporizing ground.
Yeah.
What other types of terrain does Sun Tzu discuss?
He talks about narrow passes,
Okay.
which are these strategically important choke points
Okay.
that can control the flow of troops and supplies. He emphasizes the importance of securing these passes, both offensively and defensively, to limit the enemy's mobility and to protect your own lines of communication.
I can imagine these would be hotly contested.
Absolutely.
Right.
And Sun Tzu provides specific advice on how to attack and defend these passes, using a combination of terrain features, troop deployments, and psychological tactics.
This is like starting to feel like a masterclass in military strategy.
It is. But what's amazing is how these principles can be applied to so many other areas of life. Like, imagine you're trying to launch a new product in a crowded marketplace.
Okay.
Identifying those key narrow passes Those critical points of access to your target audience is essential for success.
It's like you need to find those strategic channels that will allow you to reach your customers.
Right.
And to outmaneuver your competitors.
Precisely. And then we have precipitous heights, which are essentially high ground with steep slopes. Sun Tzu advises occupying these heights if possible, and using them to rain down arrows or other projectiles on the enemy below.
So it's a great place to have a defensive position, right?
Yeah.
What about the opposite of that? Does he talk about low-lying areas?
He does. He refers to these as hollow basins.
Okay.
And advises against being trapped in them.
Oh.
He suggests using them as bait.
Okay.
To lure the enemy into a vulnerable position.
Wow.
It's a classic tactic of turning a seeming disadvantage into an opportunity.
So it's all about understanding the terrain.
Yeah.
Both literally and figuratively.
Right.
Using it to your advantage.
Exactly. And this requires a keen eye for detail, the ability to anticipate your opponent's moves, and a willingness to adapt your strategy as the situation evolves.
So we've got narrow passes, precipitous heights, hollow basins.
Yep.
Anything else we should know about Sun Tzu's approach to terrain?
Well, he also talks about the importance of understanding the distances involved in any military campaign.
Okay.
He advises against overextending your supply lines.
Right.
And emphasizes the need to secure your rear areas to prevent ambushes or surprise attacks.
So it's not just about conquering territory. It's about holding on to what you've gained and maintaining a secure base of operations.
Exactly. Sun Tzu was a big believer in consolidation and security.
Yeah.
He understood that even the most brilliant victory can be short-lived if you don't take steps to protect your gains.
You know, this whole discussion about terrain has really opened my eyes to the importance of strategic thinking.
Yeah.
Not just in warfare, but in every aspect of life.
Right.
Like we're all navigating different terrains. Our careers, our relationships, our personal goals. And understanding the nuances of those terrains can give us a real advantage.
I couldn't agree more. Sun Tzu's insights into terrain analysis offer a framework for understanding the challenges and opportunities we face in any given situation.
Right.
It's about recognizing patterns, anticipating obstacles, and finding the most advantageous path to our destination.
Yeah. This has been an incredible journey so far.
Yeah, it has.
We've explored so many facets of the art of war, from deception and intelligence gathering to terrain analysis and leadership principles. I feel like we're only just beginning to scratch the surface of this ancient wisdom.
Me too. There's so much more to uncover, and I'm eager to dive back in and explore more of Sun Tzu's brilliant insights.
Okay, let's do it.
So, ready to jump back into the art of war?
Yeah, let's do it. You know, one thing that's been on my mind is this whole idea of discipline and order.
Okay.
It seems like Sun Tzu sees that as like the bedrock of an effective army.
Absolutely. He talks extensively about the importance of maintaining control of your troops.
Yeah.
Both physically and mentally.
Right.
Discipline, for Sun Tzu, wasn't just about soldiers marching in formation. It was about cultivating this mindset that permeated, like, every aspect of warfare.
And it wasn't just about, like, blindly following orders.
Right.
He also talks about the need for initiative and adaptability on the battlefield.
Yeah, you're right. He recognized that a rigid, inflexible army would be vulnerable to a more agile opponent.
Right.
But he also believed that true adaptability had to be grounded in a solid foundation of discipline.
So it's like having a strong core.
Yeah.
But being flexible and responsive to, like, changing circumstances.
Exactly. He compares a well-disciplined army to a grindstone being dashed against an egg.
Okay.
Powerful image.
Yeah, it is.
That highlights the force that can be generated when individual efforts are aligned and focused towards a common goal.
That's a great analogy, but how do you create that kind of discipline, like, in practice?
Yeah.
Especially in the chaos of war.
Well, Sun Tzu gives some very specific advice. He talks about training, drilling, and instilling a sense of purpose in your troops.
Okay.
He also stresses the need for clear communication, consistent leadership, and a fair system of rewards and punishments.
So it's not just about, like, barking orders. It's about inspiring your troops to follow you willingly, like believe in the cause.
Precisely. Sun Tzu understood that true discipline comes from within, from a shared sense of purpose and a deep respect for the leader and for each other.
I feel like that applies to any team, really.
Totally.
Whether you're leading a company or a sports team,
Yeah.
even just a family. Inspiring that sense of like shared commitment and respect is crucial for success.
Absolutely. It goes back to the idea of moral law we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Creating an environment where everyone feels valued, their contributions are recognized, and they're all working toward a common goal.
He also warns against being too harsh or too lenient in your leadership, right?
Yeah.
Seems like he's advocating for a balanced approach.
You're right. He understood that soldiers are human beings, not just mindless automatons. He recognized the importance of treating them with respect and dignity, even while holding them to a high standard of conduct.
It's about finding that sweet spot between being a demanding leader and a compassionate one.
Right.
That can be tough.
It can be, but it's a challenge worth striving for, because ultimately it's about creating a culture of excellence where people are motivated to perform at their best.
Yeah.
Not out of fear, but out of a sense of pride and commitment to the shared mission.
Okay, so tying all of this back to, like, the modern world, what would Sun Tzu say about today's workplace?
I think they're more relevant than ever.
Really?
Yeah, in a world that's increasingly complex and competitive, organizations need to be more agile, more adaptable, and more resilient.
Right.
And that requires a strong foundation of discipline and order.
So it's not about, like, creating rigid hierarchies or stifling creativity?
Exactly. It's about creating a framework that allows people to thrive while still working towards a common goal.
So striking that balance between freedom and structure, individual initiative, and collective responsibility.
It's about creating an environment where people feel empowered to take risks, to innovate, to push the boundaries, while still operating within a clear set of values and guidelines.
And we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive into the art of war.
We have.
We've talked about adaptability, deception, intelligence gathering, terrain, discipline, and order, so much more. Is there anything else from this that you think we should highlight?
I think it's worth emphasizing that for Sun Tzu, warfare was always a last resort.
Okay.
His ultimate goal was to achieve victory without fighting.
Yeah.
To outmaneuver the enemy strategically, break their will to resist, before a single blow is even struck.
Yeah, that's a really important reminder, especially in today's world.
It is.
Where conflicts can escalate so quickly and have such devastating consequences.
Absolutely. It reminds us there's always a cost to conflict.
Yeah.
Even when you're victorious.
Right.
It challenges us to seek peaceful solutions whenever possible, to exhaust all other options before resorting to force.
It's amazing that a book written over 2,000 years ago can still be so relevant today.
It's incredible.
Sun Tzu's Art of War is clearly much more than just like a military manual.
Yeah.
It's a work of philosophy that offers timeless wisdom about strategy, leadership, human nature, and this quest for victory in all aspects of life.
I completely agree. And while the battlefield might have changed, the fundamental principles of strategy and human behavior that Sun Tzu illuminated remain as relevant as ever.
Okay, so to wrap things up,
I
want to leave you with this thought.
Okay.
Sun Tzu emphasizes knowing the terrain. What are the terrains you're navigating in your own life? Think about it. The challenges you face, the goals you're pursuing, the relationships you're building. How can understanding the nuances of those terrains help you make more strategic decisions and ultimately achieve greater success?
It encourages us to apply these principles to our own unique situations and to see the world through a strategic lens.
It's been great exploring the brilliance of the art of war with you.
Likewise, I always enjoy revisiting Sun Tzu's work and uncovering new layers of meaning within his timeless wisdom.